Hey, my name's Dan. This is Pilates All Levels at Studio Blue. Only optional props, a purple ball, a mini band, a long band would work as well. A pillow could replace your ball if you don't have one at home. If anything doesn't feel good in your body, especially your neck, your back, your joints in general, don't push through any kind of bad pain. And we're going to start standing today, which we don't typically do. I've been starting hands and knees for a while, but let's start upright and just get the spine moving a little bit. And this will give you a kind of a reference point from the beginning of class, kind of the beginning of the hour towards the end of the hour. Just kind of shake out your arms a little bit, maybe shake out the legs a bit. And then feet about hip distance, so inner hip distance apart. Arms relaxed by your side. And then nod your chin. And just start to roll down through your spine. You can bend the knees a little bit and just roll down. And it's Monday morning, so things generally feel a little different after the weekend. Bend the knees a little bit more. Let your head get very heavy. And then as you exhale, curl the tailbone, roll yourself up slowly. That head comes up last. And again, just your own time, your own pace. Nod your chin. Imagine you're rolling off of a wall. So head, your spine, just kind of let your arms dangle. Bend the knees a bit. Big breath at the bottom. And then root into the feet as you roll up. See if you can connect through your inner thighs, the back of your hamstrings, your glutes, your core, not just the front, but also the back. Chest opens, head comes up. Last one like this, nodding the chin. Yep, and just kind of taking note, how does this feel again at the beginning of the hour? And there's no right or wrong answer on that, just kind of checking in. Yep. Good, heavy head. And this time, just roll the head a bit from side to side at the bottom, up and down, left and right. And then let everything be heavy. Take another inhale. Root through the feet. Exhale, roll yourself up. Good. And this time at the top, as the head comes up, inhale your shoulders up into your ears. And then exhale, let them drop. Just do a couple like this. Inhale, shoulders lift. Exhale, they drop. So just noticing, right, you have shoulders, you have shoulder blades, they can lift and lower. And now lift them up, and as you exhale, squeeze your shoulder blades a little bit together and pull down the back of your ribs. Just a couple in this direction. Yeah, up, together, down and back. So we're starting to wake up some of these postural muscles before we come onto our back. And then take a couple in reverse. So shoulder blades together, up, forward, and down. Yep. Last one. Nice. And then allowing the arms to be heavy, right? We're not forcing the shoulders down. Just tilt your head to one side. And then inhale to center, and then exhale, tilt your head to the other side. And just notice if things, again, feel different from left to right. And let's make sure you're even. And roll the chin forward. Take a couple circles with the head in one direction. And then reverse your circles. And just a couple in that other direction. All right. And then bring the head to center. Make your way onto your back. Things should be a little bit more mobile. Grab your purple ball. So we're all the way down. So have your ball close by. The band, we'll get to it in a little bit. But the ball's in between the knees or a pillow if you're at home. Feet are parallel, ball distance apart. And pelvis is neutral. So your lower back isn't super flat. There's just a little bit of space. Clasp your hands together and fully together, right? So you want to kind of feel like you're making a basket. Place the hands behind the head. Elbows to the sky. Nod your chin slightly. And as you exhale, curl the head and the chest up to about the tips of your shoulder blades and just pause. Right, give your ball a little squeeze. Feel your inner thighs, feel your deep low abs and your pelvic floor. And then slowly lower the chest and the head down. Inhale. Nod the chin, exhale, curl. So ribs are gliding down, waistline's drawing in, but there isn't much change to the pelvis or the lower back, right? And then again, take it down. So stay at your own time, your own pace, exhaling to curl up. and inhaling to come down. Every time you breathe out, find that gentle squeeze into your ball. Last one like this. So staying lifted at the top now. That's just whenever you get there. Take a big inhale. Exhale again, squeeze your ball. Inhale, release a little bit, keeping the chest lifted. Exhale, squeeze. Yeah. Inhale, release a little bit. And I want you to feel like every time you inhale, really try to breathe into the back of the ribs. So you're creating space. And every time you exhale, find your inner thighs and those deep pelvic floor muscles. So the muscles that you would use to stop the flow of urine if you were peeing, those deep bladder muscles, you want to feel those lift a little bit as you breathe out. They're going to relax a little bit as you breathe in. Last two. Yeah. Last one. And then lower the chest and the head down to the ground. Rest your arms by your side. Walk the feet just a little bit closer towards your pelvis. And then curl the tailbone, flatten the low back, and roll your hips to the sky. So first bridge of the day, of the hour. As your hips roll up, pause when the knees, hips, and shoulders are in alignment. So one nice long line. Give that prop, that ball, a little bit of squeeze. And again, exhale, roll down upper, middle, and lower back. Allow the pelvis to roll open at the bottom. And again, inhale, exhale, curl. So it starts with the abdominals. And as the hips lift, the glutes start to wake up, the hamstrings start to wake up, the hips get to open. And again, bring it down. Yeah, so keep going at your own time and your own pace. Yeah, and then Jarina, feel the feet come in just a little bit nearer. Yeah, you got it. Nice. Awesome, awesome. Lovely. Yeah, it's just rolling up, rolling down. Yeah. And then the next time that you roll up to the top of your bridge, hold at the top of that bridge. So again, shoulders, hips, knees, kind of that one nice neutral line. So it's a little different than yoga bridge. Keep squeezing into your prop or your ball, right? The sensation, right, of curling the tail under, softening the ribs down. Now, without actually moving your feet, can you tug your heels a little bit towards your shoulders? So you'll feel the back of your hamstrings, the back of your legs start to kick in, hopefully. And then as you inhale, breathe wide into the ribs. Exhale, squeeze that ball a little bit more. Inhale, breathe wide, and then exhale, squeeze. Keep that sense, center of the glutes are lifting, front of the ribs are dropping. Last three, two, and last one. Hold that squeeze, lift your arms to the sky, palms face one another. Exhale, as you roll down, reach your arms overhead. The upper spine, middle, lower. Good. And this time, turn palms up to the sky. Lift the arms, the head, and the chest. So lifting up, pelvis stays on the ground. Hold. Take an inhale, broaden the collarbones. Exhale, bring the hands back to the head, staying lifted. And on your next breath out, take a small twist to your right. So the upper spine is rotating, the pelvis is still. Inhale back to center, and then exhale, small twist to your left. Inhale back to center. Exhale, small twist to the right. Yeah. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. So keep going with this. And anything we do today with the abs, right, with your knees bent and feet on the ground, this is going to be the most supportive. So as we start to progress this ab stuff, just know you can always come back to this, right? Make sure the head is still pretty heavy into the hands. The elbows are in your peripheral vision. Yeah. Nice. Take one more to your left. One more to your left. Yeah. Yeah. Once you finish that side, just lower everything down to the ground. Right. You can take your ball off to the side for now. And then if you want to up level, the lower back will imprint. So it flattens a bit to the floor. The legs float up tabletop one at a time. Knees and hips are about 90 degrees and your arms come up to the sky. So let's take a couple breaths here and really think of breathing into the back of the ribs rather than the stomach. As you breathe in, back of the ribs open. As you breathe out, find that deep low ab connection and then take the right heel to the ground as you reach your left arm overhead. Inhale back to center. And then exhale, left heel to the ground as you reach your right arm overhead. Inhale back to center. So keep going with this. And the idea isn't necessarily to touch the floor, right? The idea is to stabilize the trunk, the pelvis. So maybe the heel touches the ground, maybe it doesn't. It's also a lot of coordination. So make sure there's only 2 limbs moving, not 3, not 4. Yep. And it's going to be alternating, right? So sometimes it can get a little tricky, especially one side more than the other. Yeah. And just ending with left heel, right arm. Once you finish that side, grab the back of your thighs with your hands. Lift your chest up just to the tips of the shoulder blades. Your elbows are going to widen a bit, right? Take a breath in. And then as you exhale, slowly bring the hands back around to the head. So we're lifted, waistline's in. Again, as you exhale, right heel towards the ground, waistline stays in. Inhale it up. Yep. Exhale, left heel towards the ground, waistline stays in. Yeah, maybe close your eyes and really kind of feel your head heavy into the hands. Shoulders softening down, waistline drawing in. One more each side. And then ending to the left. And grab the back of the thighs. And if you lowered back, lift up just a little higher again so you're off those shoulders, elbows wide, take a breath in. Exhale, the slower you go and the more space you take up to bring your hands to your head, right? The harder it is on your abs. Staying here, support the head, small twist to the right. Maybe tap your left heel to the ground or reach your left leg forward to a high 45-degree angle. Inhale back to center, exhale, rotate left. Right leg reaches or taps. Inhale back, exhale, twist. Inhale back, exhale, twist, right? So keep going with this, right? And the feet can always come back down to the ground as well, right? We can have knees bent, feet flat, right? If you're doing the twist, whichever way you're twisting, look at your knee that you're twisting towards, and it should help keep your neck in a good alignment, right? So you're not over twisting the neck. Yep. Take one more up and over to your left. And then once you finish that side, hug the knees into the body. Roll the hips a bit from side to side. Yep. And then settle the feet to the floor one at a time. So again, this can be done knees bent, feet flat, or we're going to lengthen the legs out, which is going to make this a little bit more challenging for this next exercise. So legs are parallel to start. My waistline's in, my pelvis is fairly neutral, and my ribs are heavy. My arms are going to come up to the sky. And as I exhale, I'm going to preset my abdominals and start to lift the right leg to the sky. My foot can be pointed for now. So I'm just lifting as high as I can without my hip hiking. And then check in with your leg that's still on the ground. Make sure that leg hasn't twisted out. So I'm actually thinking of pushing that heel into the ground. Slowly lower this leg down. So it's going to be deep ab, right? Deep hip, thigh. Once it touches, push the right heel into the ground, right? Find your waistline, lift the left leg. Yeah, and again, just as high as it'll go without the hip hiking or the pelvis really tucking. Slowly lower, so ribs still heavy, low waistline in, just keep alternating. Now again, this can be done knees bent, right? It's more of a tabletop lift rather than a straight leg lift. Yep. And then, yeah, there you go. And then Vicky, feel that left leg rotate in just a little. Yeah, there you go. Rotate it in. So keep going on each side. And I just want you to feel that connection of not just abdominals, but deep hip flexors. Right, you're going to get a little bit of thigh work here. It's not the star of the show. Yep. And to your left. And then once that left leg touches the ground, reach your arms overhead about halfway. So palms are facing one another. You're not touching the ground by any means. As you inhale, lift the arms, the head, and the chest. Keep the weight of the heels heavy on the ground. Slowly start to roll up. Same thing, right? Core starts it. Pelvis starts to move on top of the thigh bones, arms reach forward. And then curl, start to roll back and down. Try to keep your heels anchoring, right? Front of the hips start to open. Low back, middle back, upper back. Now you could use a band around your feet. You could use weights in hand, a pillow under the back, anything you need to try to keep this smooth and to try to keep the feet still heavy to the ground. Yep. Good. Keep going. Yep. Nice. Yeah. So sometimes like a pillow or like a folded up towel under the lower back can help, especially if there's some tension there. This looks nice. Couple more. Yeah, relaxing the shoulders. Nice. Yeah, nice. The next time that we roll all the way up, you'll just restack to sit tall. Any props you have, just take them off to the side. Grab your ball, and we're gonna place this ball kind of right at the base of the rib cage. So a little bit lower than the shoulder blades. Now, if the ball goes too low, you might get low back tension, so you can always just increase it, right? The higher towards the top of your shoulders, generally the more supportive it is. So knees bent, feet hip distance, hands behind the head. Elbows towards the sky. Take a breath into the back of the ribs and into the ball. Exhale, just find your low waistline. And on your next breath in, start to take just your upper spine and your middle spine a little bit over the ball. Try not to move the lower back too much or the pelvis. And as you exhale, start to curl up. Think of the back of the ribs pressing into the ball. Lift. Inhale, take it back. So you get some extension, and then exhale, your abs have to work to pull you out of that extension, right? So keep going with this. At home, you could use a pillow if you didn't have a ball, right? Just make sure it's folded up enough to get some leverage. Yeah, and again, just remember, right? Just make sure this is coming from the abdominals, the movements focus more into the thoracic spine, so that upper spine rather than the lower spine. Yeah, this generally should feel pretty nice, just to get some movement back here. Yeah, nice. The next time that you curl up, let's stay lifted at the top. Take an inhale. Exhale, right leg floats up. We'll say tabletop-ish. So the shins parallel to the ground, the knee might not be over the hip, that's fine. Keeping it there, look at that knee, and then as you exhale, take a small twist towards it, keeping that left hip and left foot really anchored. Inhale to center, same side, exhale, small twist towards that right leg. Inhale, center. And exhale, as we twist to the right, it might feel like you're pushing the ball actually to the left to increase that rotation on the upper spine. Last two, exhale, twist. Left foot still anchored, inhale, center. Last one. Inhale to center, lower the right foot. Take the chest halfway over the ball. Exhale, curl back up. Nice, rotate to the left. Left leg floats up, right? Tabletop-ish. We're gonna keep it there. Inhale back to center, legs stay still. Exhale, small twist. So it's like that right lower rib is crossing towards that left hip. Inhale, center. And you might notice one side feels a little bit more challenging than the other, or you might feel more stretch on one side than the other. Last one like this. Back to center, lower the left foot, stretch halfway over the ball. Right, and my chin's still gonna be a little bit dropped towards my throat here, but as you exhale this time, I want you to think of curling the head and the chest up. And at the top of this, imagine you could take your breastbone and lift it straight up to the sky, like I'm hovering off the ball. Now, as I inhale, I'm not gonna stretch back, I'm just gonna sink into the ball. And then exhale again, imagine your chest and your head is lifting straight up to the sky. So it's not a ton of movement. And then I sink back into the ball. Does everyone feel this one? Okay. So this should feel like it's kind of more down the center line of your stomach and kind of right at the base of your ribs. So it's pretty small. You weight into the ball and then you literally try to hover off of that ball. Inhale to weight, exhale to hover. Last two. Yep. Last one, try to maintain that hover for a breath. And then relax. You might have to take that ball a little bit higher towards the top of your shoulders or kind of middle of the shoulder blades. Stretch over the ball again. So this is just going to open more of the upper back. Keep the head supported, maybe lengthen the legs out. And just breathe. Let the whole front line of the stomach open, front line of the hips. Keep the neck supported. And then keeping that support, nod the chin, curl the head and the chest up, reach the arms forward, roll yourself up to seated. We're going to take the ball in between the knees. So knees bent, feet ball distance apart, and then grab the back of the thighs with the hands and just sit fairly tall, right? Elbows pretty wide. Give that ball a squeeze, curl the tailbone, roll your pelvis a little bit away from your thighs. You're eventually going to kind of catch yourself. My elbows are still, a bit bent. And you want to feel that the front of your hips start to relax a little. So see if you can push the heels into the ground, find your inner thighs, offload the hips. And as you exhale, maybe the right arm comes forward. Inhale, hand to thigh. Exhale, left arm forward. Yeah. Inhale, hand to thigh. One more each side like this. And I want you to start to feel that center line of your stomach and kind of that line around the base of your ribs. Yeah, once you finish your left side, re-squeeze your ball, re-feel that lift of your low stomach, and then maybe both arms come forward. Inhale, hands to the thighs. Exhale, reset both arms forward. Stay easy in your shoulders, right? If this starts to get into the back of it all, maybe come up a little higher, or just stay with one arm at a time so you always have a little bit of support, right? Two more like this. Now, last one, hold. So if you're doing both arms, just hold here. Right? If you need more support, just have your fingertips really light to the back of your thighs. Take one extra breath, give that ball a little squeeze, find those inner thighs, and then restack, sit tall, grab the front of your shins, let your chin drop towards your knees. Take a breath. And then restack, sit tall. And again, curl the tail, roll back. So pelvis rolls away from your thighs. Left hand to the back of your left thigh, right arm forward to start. As you exhale, you're going to sweep the right arm open. The ribs are going to rotate with you. Just make sure that the hand doesn't go past the shoulder. Inhale, come back to center. We're going to stay on the same side. So I'm holding out my left. I inhale, ribs open. Exhale, use your stomach, use your waistline to bring you back. Just one more like this. Rotate upper ribs, middle ribs rotate, lower back stay pretty quiet. Next time you're back, right hand to the back of the thigh, left arm forward. As you inhale, open that arm, let the ribs rotate with you. Exhale back. Two more. Inhale, open, head, ribs spiral. Exhale back. Good. Last one, shoulders stay easy. And back. Hands to the thighs, round forward. Take a breath, dropping chin to the chest. And then restack. Last thing we're going to do here, hands behind the thighs, curl the tail, roll back off your sit bones. Yeah, feet fairly heavy, maybe flex them if the front of the shins are starting to get tired or if your arches get tired. Now we'll see what we can do if both arms reach forward, right? Right fingertips to the breastbone. And then I'm not going to curl up, but rather I'm just going to rotate to my right. So really similar to what we just did, just less supportive. Inhale to center, same side, right? Rotate to your right. Inhale to center, right? You should feel this a lot more into those obliques, right? So kind of near base of the ribs, side of the ribs. Inhale to center, right arm forward, left fingertips to the breastbone. Exhale, small twist to your left. Inhale, center. Now keep in mind, right? You can have a hand behind the thigh for support. Last two. Inhaling center. Last one. Inhale, center and come forward. Take your ball away. Butterfly your knees open. Let your head fall heavy and just stretch out the hips for a moment, the inner thighs. And allow your shoulders to relax. Take a couple breaths. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And then restack, start to sit tall. Lovely. Cross the ankles over one another, come forward onto the hands and knees. If you have a big, thick, squishy mat, sometimes being hands on the floor feels a little nicer on the wrists. Otherwise, hands on the mat is a-okay. Fingers spread, knees under hips, toes tucked to start. And just press into your hands and feel your upper back widen. So feel the shoulder blades widen a little bit and then feel your stomach lift. You can take one leg at a time back into full plank. Pressing down into the feet. There's a sense of the pubic bone lifting, the tail drawing a little bit back, and the heart pulling a little bit forward. Now, this can also be knees down plank, so low plank. This can also be forearm plank, knees down or up. So lots of choices on this. Keep holding for another 10 seconds. Yep, puffing up through that middle back just a little bit for Meg. Yep, good. Nice. 3, 2, knees down, push back, child's pose. Feet together, knees open. And just rest here for a moment. Heavy head. Breathing in, breathing out. And then rising back up, this time onto the forearms. So measuring the elbow distance by grabbing onto the upper bicep. And then hands can come together, or they can separate for less support and a little bit more work in the shoulder blades. So either way is fine. And to start, I'm gonna walk the knees back into kind of a low plank position. And you wanna get to this place where the shoulders and the hips are kind of just on one even plane. They're parallel to the ground. And just check in that your lower back isn't arched, but there's this lift through the base of your ribs. Inner elbows are hugging in, glutes are on, right? And then if you want to advance it, keep your abs in, simply just lift your legs, but try not to change that position in the pelvis or the back. Right? And just see if that feels a little bit more intense, starting kind of from that low and then bringing it to that high. Yeah, and then you're gonna feel the puff up through the upper back just a little. Yeah, there you go. Yes, that's it. Nice. Yep, hold and breathe for 5. 4, and then Dan, left hip up just a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Nice. Last 2. Last 1. Lower the knees, push back, child's pose. Knees together or apart on this one. Just breathe. Good. In through nose, out through mouth. So planks, right? Definitely a lot more than just your abs working. Every muscle in the body's working. Rise back up onto the forearms. Right? Elbows shoulder distance apart. Hands together, more support. Separated for less. This time, knees are going to be right under our hips, about maybe like fist distance apart. So they're fairly narrow. Inner elbows hug in, right leg, stretch it back, lift it up and hold. And just make sure if you're at home and you don't have a thick mat under you, you can roll your mat or use a little cushion. Just make sure your knee feels supported. Now keep the low ribs in, shoulder blades down and out of the ears, and then just lengthen the neck a little bit. Let the chin drop slightly. Lower that back leg down and in. Exhale, reach it back and then up. Inhale down and in. Exhale back and up. Now the peel back on this is coming up onto your hands. So if your shoulders or your neck start to get tired here, just come up onto the hands. Keep those low ribs in. All that kind of front of the core work that we did in the beginning of class. You want to use that here. And you do want to start to feel those glutes. So the supporting glute on your left leg, excuse me. And then also the moving leg, that glute. Now, if you're on your hands, just feel that there's this kind of lift or puffing up sensation to your upper back. Yeah, there you go. Stomach still in, last one. Now, the next time that leg reaches out, just hold it up and back. Yeah, shoulders re-rolling out of the ears, core re-lifted up. Now that back leg stays straight. It's going to drop down a little bit as we inhale, circle it out, around and up. So we come down, out a little, up, in and back down. So this is going to work not only the gluteals, but also into the hamstrings. Inner thighs, core muscles are still on. And we're only going so big that we can keep the pelvis, the ribs, and the shoulders stable. Next time you're at center, reverse, out, down, and up, out, down, and up. Last 3. Keep hugging inner elbows in, shoulders down. Last 1. And lower that leg down. You can take child's pose or cat stretch. Either one is a-okay. Right. If you're in child's pose, your arms can stretch out in front of you. You can also take the hands under the head. And just hold and breathe for a moment. Nice. And then rise back up, either onto the forearms, or if you wanted to be on hands, that's a-okay. Knees under hips. Stabilize the shoulder, right? So forearms pushing down, inner elbows hugging in. Left leg backing up. Hold for a moment. Just kind of get everything set up. Low floating ribs are in, tummy's in, back foot lightly pointed. We'll bend the leg down and in. And exhale, reach back and up. Down and in. Back and up. Nope, still breathing. And down and in. Back and up. Down and in. Back and up. Nice, good. Just checking that you're not swaying into that right hip, but think of those outer right gluteals working to kind of put on the brakes, right? They're not allowing you to sway to the side. Left gluteals are helping to lift and extend that leg. Shoulder blades are still wide. Last 2, jaw is relaxed. Last 1, reach up, hold. Keep that top leg straight. We're gonna circle it out, down a little, in a little, back up, around and out. Keep breathing. And keep thinking of finding that full circular motion of the hip joint, right? So there's a lot of directions happening here, a lot of different muscles working. Keep that sense of puffing up through the upper back and the ribs, and then hips to the left just a little bit from Miss Heather. Oh yeah, find those outer right glutes. Right, reverse those circles. We hadn't reversed yet, correct? Okay, good, thank you. Good, keep circling. Yeah. Last 3, 2. Rest on 1. Bend the knee down, push on back, child's pose. Lovely. And just breathe into that. Give the glutes a bit of a stretch, give the lower back a bit of a stretch. And then rise up. So you have the option to use a band. If you're at home and have a long band, just make sure your thighs are together, and then tie it. If you have the mini band, all right, it'll go around your feet and your ankles. All right, once it's there, keep it really wide, and you just kind of inchworm it up over the knees, right? Under the knees could work as well if above the knees doesn't feel comfortable, right? So this is just going to add a little resistance and work into the glutes. If it's too much, just ditch it, right? Especially if you lose your range of motion. Okie dokie. All right, and we've already warmed up the glutes, so this should feel extra hard today. So the heels are going to be in line with the sit bones, the knees are bent forward, and I'm going to lower down. I can have my arm long. I'm going to adjust this mic. It can be long with my head resting on my arm. If you had a ball or a pillow, you could use that as a little headrest, right? So just a place where your neck can maintain some length, and it doesn't feel like it's tensing. Take the top hand to the top hip, hike the top hip up a little to start, and then feel that hip drop down towards your feet. Keep it there. Feet together, lift the top knee up and open. Hold. Flex your top foot and turn the foot out, right? Try to connect the heels together. Squeeze those heels together. Yep. Yeah, squeeze them together. Let the feet rest on the ground. Keep squeezing the heels. Yeah, that top foot's turned out. Do you feel that upper glute? All right, keep it on. Slowly lower the thigh and the knee, just to where to the edge of the tension. Try not to lose it. Try to keep those heels together. And then again, lift, top thigh lifts up. Squeeze, top heel pushes down into the bottom foot. Slowly lower. Yeah, there you go. So as you lift, right, there's a gluteal contraction. You're holding that contraction and slowly lowering, right? So keep going. Core sets the motion or sets the movement, and then we push into the band and create the movement. Anybody not feel this? We found our glutes. Lovely. Right, and that glute max, it's big. So, right, this is not just your upper, it's going to be middle, top, lower, right? The whole back side of that top glute is working. Yeah, make sure your pelvis isn't rolling back as you lift. Last one. Now, the next time you lift, let's pause at the top. Keep the knee lifted. We're just going to take the foot up as well. So now the thigh, knee, and shin are parallel to the ground. I'm going to keep my top knee bent. I'm going to push that leg back in space slightly. So the front of my hip is going to open up a little bit more. Now this one's probably the trickiest one to do. You don't want to lose the tension in your band. I'm going to rotate my leg in. So essentially my foot is kicking to the sky. And then I come back to where I started. And then again, right, I rotate in. And then I come back to where I started. As your leg gets tired, as your glutes get tired, this will want to start to happen, this abduction. But really keep it into that internal rotation. It's going to work a different part of your gluteals, right? Try to stay easy in the shoulders, the neck, the jaw. Last one. And rest. Nice job. And just rub out the side of the hip a little bit. All right. So we're going to stay on the same side for now. I'm going to take my bottom hand to my head. I'm going to take my ball. This could be a pillow as well. And I'm going to take that ball to my breastbone. So right to my chest. My top hand comes out to the center of the ball, and my elbow kind of lifts to the sky. My shoulder drops. Now, as I inhale, I'm going to rotate my head and ribs, my upper ribs back in space. I'm kind of rotating right from where that ball is. Doesn't have to be very far. My hips stay pretty still. And then I slowly come back to center. So keep going. Be right back. So especially if your neck feels a little achy, or if your bottom shoulder feels at all achy on this, you can use a pillow and it'll really offload that shoulder and the neck as we find this right upper spine rotation. Last one. Yeah. And then come back to center, flip sides for me. Yeah, and it can be the same setup. So if you had a pillow, you could ditch it, or if you still want to use it, that's a-okay. But we'll come into that glute work on the other side. So knees bent forward, feet in line with sit bones, hips are stacked, shoulders are stacked. Take the top hand to the top hip, let that top hip hike up a little. Feel it reach down, right? So find that length, and then top knee lifts, feet stay together. Now that top foot is gonna flex and turn up to the sky a little, and I'm gonna push my top heel down into my bottom foot. And just see if that gives you kind of more sense of that back glute turning on. Slowly lower the leg, lower the knee, the thigh. All right, set the stomach a little lift. Find that moment of pause, and then slowly lower. All right, a little bit of set to the core, lift, slowly lower. Yeah. If you don't feel this, let me know. Yeah, really good with the hips, right? So we're not letting the pelvis roll back, but rather the hips are still and we're rolling in the hip joint. Good. And just still breathing. And I like this one as like a pre kind of warm up for any kind of big leg day if you do weightlifting as well, or if you're going to do a hike or something or a long walk, you could use this as a way to kind of get your glutes on before you go use them for a bit. Next time you lift up, let's hold. Top knee stays where it's at. Lift the shin and the foot to meet it. The foot's just kind of relax. So my top thigh and shin are parallel to the ground, knees bent 90 degrees. I'm going to push back a little into the tension of the band, right? So I'm just pushing back a little. And as you exhale, rotate your thigh in without losing that tension, without dropping the knee. Inhale back to center. And again, exhale, rotate in. Inhale back to center. Good. So it's that internal rotation. This generally feels usually pretty challenging, right? But over the weeks, we do this one a lot. Hopefully this is starting to feel easier. If you've been doing this with me for a while. All right. Couple more. Yeah. Last one. And then rest everything down. Just kind of pat out that hip a little bit. All right. And this is the one, so going into our rotation, you can have your ball at your chest to the top hand, bottom hand could be behind the head, or you could use pillows, right? You just want to make sure your neck has some support. And then the head starts to motion, the upper spine starts to rotate back. The hips stay pretty still. Still this sense of the low tummy drawing up and in. And then we roll back to center. And you might even get a sense as we rotate back that this top shoulder is rolling down a little, that top shoulder blade is rolling inward to the center of the spine. Okay. Yeah, got it. Just getting some of that rotation should feel pretty nice. Yep. Good. Couple more. And last one. Rotating back. Just pause for a breath. And bring it back to center. All right, and release that. Nicely done. We can take those bands off. Done with that. Okie dokie. So we're gonna come onto our stomachs with the ball. Now this next series, if this feels weird in your shoulders and your wrist or your back, just ditch the ball. This can all be done without it. I'm just gonna adjust this mic again. So this can also be done with a foam roller at home if I didn't have a ball. So you basically want to have your head pretty close to the top edge of your mat. So our ball and our hands are away from the mat, just so it doesn't start rolling over the kind of the lip of it. And the idea, my hands are going to come out, one hand on top of the other. Doesn't matter for now. We'll switch. The nose is going to be about an inch off the ground. Right now, my elbows are pretty easy. My shoulders are just pretty easy. Pelvis heavy, legs relaxed, and hip distance, maybe shoulder distance as wide as you need them. Lift up through your lower tummy. As you root your pubic bone down, feel your deep glutes kick in. And then just start to lift the head and the chest up, maybe a couple inches. Hold. So I'm right to the center of my breastbone. Now, as I exhale, I'm just going to press my hands into the ball. My elbows lift. There isn't really going to be too much change in my spine. except you're going to feel some of those upper and middle back muscles start to turn on, hopefully. On your next breath out, just bend the arms, lower the head and the chest. Now again, wrap shoulders out of ears. Press down into the ball, feel the chest lift, maybe just a little bit more. So this is upper spine focused, lower spine is neutral. Lengthen lower. Again, set shoulders, right, out of ears, let them widen. Press straight down to the ball, try not to push it away from you. And then maybe come up a little bit higher. So you're thinking of pulling the ball towards you. The upper spine starts to come forward and up. Low tummy stays in, pubic bone stays heavy. Shoulders stay wrapping down. You might start to feel those triceps kicking in here as well. Slowly lower. Yeah, whatever hand's on top, you can switch. So again, pressing, floating elbows off the ground, maybe adding a little bit more height to the upper spine and middle spine. Keep the low waistline in. Keep the back of the glutes on. Slowly lower. Yeah. And this can also be done right, no ball, just hands by your side. Same motion, upper spine, middle spine, up and down. Yeah. Otherwise, just one more like this, setting shoulders. Peeling up, hold at the top and breathe. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Yeah, lower everything down. Nicely done. Take the hands under the head. Bend the knees, windshield wiper the feet from side to side. And allow the pelvis and the legs to move with you. Lovely. And then we're gonna grab that ball, place it in between your heels. We're gonna flex the feet and just pull that ball towards you. Now, if this position doesn't feel so hot in the lower back, you can take a towel and just place it under your hip bones, right? And your belly button, just make sure your pubic bone's still on the ground. Otherwise, turn your toes apart, right? Your knees are about shoulder distance, so your knees are definitely open. We're pulling that ball towards the back of our shoulders. Shoulders roll out of the ears. Just squeeze that ball. And can you feel the back of your glutes turn on? Cool. And now just relax the ball a little bit, right? And that's all it is for now, right? So the ball's pulling towards us. Give it a little bit of a squeeze. Not too much change to the lower back. And relax, right? One more like this. Squeeze the heels, glutes turn on first, and then you'll start to feel your hamstrings turn on second. Yeah. Now, if you want to add on, keep the low floating ribs lifting, the low tummy lifting. Give that ball a little squeeze, and then maybe lift slightly off the ground, right? For me, that's it. My thighs and my hips are pretty tight today. And then I lower down. But you want to make sure if you're adding this lift, it's coming from the glutes, from the front of the hips opening, not the lower back, just kind of immediately going into a back bend, right? Keep the head nice and supported. Try to squeeze those heels, right? With or without the ball is fine. Squeeze those heels. Last one. Hold and breathe. All right, last thing here on our stomach, arms reach out in front of us, hands shoulder distance or wider. Nose an inch off the ground. All right, shoulders roll out of the ears. So all we're gonna do here is toes stay pointed, right? My legs are a little turned out. And I'm gonna lift my kneecaps, but my big toes stay on the ground. So my feet are pushing down, my hands are gonna push down. Now I'm gonna hover the chest up a couple more inches. So right around to the center of the breastbone. Hold. Exhale, right leg and left arm just hover off the ground. So it doesn't have to be very high to start. Keep the waistline in, and I want you to find the sense of the front of your right hip opening and that left shoulder blade rolling out of the ear. Lower just the limbs. Exhale, opposite, left leg, right arm, just hover off the ground, easy in the neck, easy in the shoulders, and lower. So keep going with this. Now this can also be done with your forehead on a ball. So your neck and head have a little bit of support. Not a ton, just a little. Maybe start to find more range of motion. So finding a little more shoulder extension, a little bit more hip extension. Yeah, and the ball acts as just a little bit of support for the neck. And then still working through back of the shoulders, upper spine, middle spine, lower spine, stabilizing back of the glutes are on. Eventually ending to your last side. And lowering down, pushing back, child's pose. If you want a little bit more spine stretch, knees together as you push back, and you'll feel more stretch down those erector muscles down the spine. Hold and breathe in through nose and out through mouth. And then make your way up to forward fold, however you want to get there. Right, just up into a forward fold eventually. On or off your mat is fine. Yeah, just slowly roll up. We'll do this a couple times again. Just rolling up, head eventually comes up last. Yeah, shoulders relaxed, arms relaxed. So just standing here, notice how this feels towards the end of the hour compared to the beginning. Nod your chin. Start to roll down. And just on the way down again, just notice if the road to the ground has changed at all. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, root into the feet, roll up again. Heavy arms, heavy head. Head comes up last. And again, nod the chin. Last one like this. So feeling the front of the neck flexors, back of the neck starts to find a stretch. Roll down slowly. Notice if your range of motion's changed. You feel more connected to your muscles. And those knees a little bit. Root into the feet. Same thing on the way up. Can you feel more of that connection into your legs and then your core as you roll? Head comes up last. Close your eyes. Take a big inhale through the nose. Big exhale through the mouth. One more like that. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And open your eyes. We'll leave you there today. Thank you for coming.